Pulling out onto beautiful Lake Norman. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. I've got another great unboxing video for you today. I hope you saw the last unboxing of the Browning 12 gauge shotgun that we did. That was another great find that I found locally here in California. But I have a special presentation today, a special unboxing with the Smith and Wesson revolver. And I'm not going to give away the entire revolver right now. I'll leave a little bit up to the imagination as we move through the video. But I'm going to give you the backstory really quickly on this revolver. So here in North Carolina, we have quite a few pawn shops, and obviously there's I want to say there's quite a bit of old revolvers that make their way around the pawn shops in this area. And if you're diligent and you look for these in these pawn shops, once in a while you can come across a great find. That's exactly what I did with this Smith and Wesson. So the backstory is I went into the pawn shop one day, I saw this revolver out. I didn't see the box with it, I just saw the revolver that they had displayed. But I knew it was kind of a special revolver. It looked unfired at the time. I asked the proprietor of the pawn shop if I could see the box that it came with, because he did say on the label that the box was included. So I got to look at the box, and as I started looking at the box and the weapon a little more carefully, I noticed that it was a little bit different than the standard Smith and Wesson revolver. I will tell you this is a 44 caliber revolver of the 629 model ilk, as far as from Smith and Wesson. So that being said, when I saw the revolver and I kind of figured out pretty quickly that it was a special gun, I immediately basically paid what the proprietor was asking for the weapon, which was fairly priced for what I think he thought it was, because I don't think he actually knew that it was just a little more special than what he had advertised it as. So I picked up the gun. This is it right here. I'm going to unbox it. We'll talk a little bit more about it when I get it unboxed. The label on the box is still here, and I know you can't see that now. I'll zoom in on the label here as I do the walk through the unboxing, and then we'll talk a little bit about the gun, and maybe give you a little bit of a history on the gun. But I'm a huge Smith and Wesson collector, so this was a great addition to my collection. I typically shoot almost all of the guns I have, but there are a few special guns that I'm probably not going to shoot. This is going to be one of them. For a couple different reasons, and we'll talk about that during the unboxing. But if you haven't been on the channel before, I love to talk cars, I love to talk guns, airplanes, boats. Live on Lake Norman here in North Carolina. So if you want to see more unboxing videos like this, please subscribe to the channel. And we also have some good videos coming up that are going to be some wood shop videos of my wood shop here. And we're going to have a build series too. So all good things to look forward to. So again, hit that subscribe button and we'll move into the unboxing. Okay, so here we go. We talked a little bit about the box and the label. I'm going to kind of point out some of the stuff from the label right now. This is the original Smith and Wesson box, as you can see, and this is a model 629 in 44 caliber with a 6.5 inch barrel. The finish is S, and I believe in this case it stands for satin, although this is a stainless steel gun. Satin is the finish, rubber stock, and it's indicated that it's a Performance Center weapon. The product code on this is 100124. The serial number HCC0076. So, and then there's a special order number on the gun. A couple things that we'll talk about will be the serial number in a minute and the product code, but let's get into opening the box, and I'll kind of show you what's inside and why this gun was so interesting when I picked it up. But right off the bat, everything is kind of how it came new. The rubber stock is included, and it looks like it's never been mounted. It's brand new. And then we have kind of the original muzzle brake or end cap to the barrel here that was removed from the gun, and I'll explain probably why that happened. And then Smith & Wesson included the trigger lock. You can see this is still sealed, and I believe the keys are still Still inside, still sealed. Talk about the oil paper and then the gun. So we're looking at a 629 model number here, Smith and Wesson, 44 caliber. You can see that it now has basically the combat grips on them, and the grips are a little bit different. They're not your standard Smith and Wesson grips. So if some of you haven't figured out what this weapon is yet, the Smith and Wesson collectors probably have already, but we'll open it up, and probably can't see in there that great, but the shadowing is bad. A 629-5 is the model number stamped inside there. And as most of you Smith and Wesson collectors know, when you talk about the model number, that's just the iteration of starting from 629, 621-1, -2, -3. They make subtle changes during the sequence and the releases of those different model numbers as far as the dash numbers. So they usually make modifications or changes to the weapon over time, and that's what those dash numbers indicate with the Smith & Wesson revolvers. So this is a 629-5, and of course it doesn't have the Hillary hole or locking mechanism above the release here. So that's kind of nice. And then we have this muzzle brake at the end of the weapon, which I think is pretty. I think it adds a little bit to the gun. But the gun, as you can see, is pretty much in new condition. There's not a mark on it. It is, for the most part, unfired. It's sure it was fired from the factory when they did their test fire, but other than that, it has not been fired. There is a small turn ring, and that's from probably minimal handling from the previous owner and whatnot. But the gun's in remarkable shape. Give you a little close-up of the gun, a little better look at it right now. And we'll turn it around for you so you can kind of see what the other side looks like, and we'll open up the cylinder and we'll show you that too. Give you a little better look at the gun. Open up that cylinder. You can see the markings in there. See that muzzle brake we talked about? I like it. It adds quite a bit to the gun. Give you that business end there. Turn it around for you. Show those beautiful grips. Just a really, 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 really beautiful revolver. And there it is. Your model 629-5 special release by Lew Horton Distribution Company, one of 2,500, and serial number 76. Again, found in a pawn shop here in North Carolina. But anyway, let's talk about the gun. If you haven't figured it out, this is actually a Lew Horton special release. And Lew Horton is a distributor who came about in the 1940s. I believe 1948 is when Lew Horton actually came into being. Lew Horton Jr., I believe his son, kind of entered the company 1960 or right around 1960. They're a distribution company, they're a distributor. So what happens there is they basically take either overruns or special releases by Smith & Wesson, and they may add a few cosmetic changes to the weapon, and then they release them under, you know, basically Smith & Wesson, the Lew Horton name. That's what this gun is, and it's not like Lew Horton guns are exceptionally rare or exceptionally valuable. They're a little bit more valuable than the standard Smith & Wessons, but it's not like they've done a huge amount of modifications to these. It's not like it has a trigger job or anything like that. So it is nice to have, and I'll kind of tell you how I figured out that it was basically that it was a Lew Horton, because I don't think that the pawn shop I purchased it from actually knew it was a Lew Horton special release. And it is, I think it's either one of 2,500 or one of 2,000. So there aren't that many of these that were produced by Lew Horton like that. But the reason I figured this out is if you look underneath the foam, lots of times they'll put documentation under the foam. In this case, the Lew Horton documentation was actually included underneath the foam. And you have all your regular Smith and Wesson information cards that came with the box, everything that came with the box. This isn't missing anything. And then if you look closely at this documentation, there's a thank you card in here that I immediately noticed for purchasing a Lew Horton Special Edition. And this is what first tipped me off that this was just a little bit more than just a standard Smith & Wesson 629-5. So this also was included, which I'm not sure if the previous owner put this in the box, but they may have. But it was kind of, back then it was the like the magazine advertisement that would have been in a magazine, or gun shop memorabilia. But basically it talks about the new from Lew Horton Smith & Wesson Performance Center 629 with removable muzzle brake. We showed you the piece that they took off the standard, and then I showed you the muzzle brake that is on the weapon now. And we'll turn this a little bit more that way so you can see that, hopefully. And it talks about 44. Magnum includes the removable muzzle brake, 6.5-inch barrel, rosewood grips, and the retail back then, and I believe this was released in 1988 through 1990, or right in that range. The retail was $1,995. So anyway, it just talks about Lew Horton, and then it talks about the serial numbers, 2 of 100 available for $25 extra. Not that that's a big deal, but I believe when I showed you the sticker here that this was number 76. So this would have been one of the earlier release in the run, which I'm not sure why they were charging $25 for the lower serial numbers, but they were. But anyway, that's kind of how this gun came into being and how I found it at the pawn shop. And again, the standard Smith & Wesson directions and everything were on the top of the case or in the case. The Lew Horton stuff was actually underneath the foam here, just like that. So the weapon was priced fairly for basically a new condition type 629-5 weapon. And I'm not sure that they just didn't take the time to do the research, because as you know, you can kind of dig into these and do some research and figure out what they are. But I ended up picking it up for a good deal. And when you can find a gun like this that's in unfired condition, basically like new in the box, I couldn't resist. I had to snap it up pretty quickly. But it's kind of a very, very, very cool weapon, as you can tell. I like it. I think it's one of the highlights to my Smith & Wesson collection. And again, not that it's exceptionally rare or exceptionally valuable. I just like the gun. I like the way it looks. So this probably will be a collector, not a shooter. And I know that'll aggravate some people. You know, they say you should shoot everything you have. Well, I've got some 44 caliber revolvers. I don't necessarily need to shoot this one to understand what it's about. So this one's going to stay a collector. But I thought I'd share it with you guys today. And as always, I tell you, I've kind of started this channel. I need to pick up some subscribers so I can keep giving you this type of information and these type of gun releases and some of the other videos that I have planned in the future. And if you didn't know, I have a small wood shop here in North Carolina, woodpatriotic.com. And I'm going to show you this. You've probably already seen it, but I'm going to zoom in a little over here on this. This is one of the cases that we produce here. These are presentation cases for revolvers or semi-automatic handguns, whatever you like. We do a lot of 1911s. But we do these for military personnel, retiree gifts for police officers that want something to hold their service weapon. But they're all hardwood. They're all made right here by me, by hand. So if you get a chance, check out that website, woodpatriotic.com, woodpatriotic.com. I think you'll like what you find in there. And my phone number is listed. If you have any questions or you want a special order or something custom, let me know. I do it all the time for people. I'd love to do it for you. So anyway, that's the story of the 629-5 Smith & Wesson revolver I have over here. If you guys have any questions about the weapon, let me know. But I've got a couple more of these unboxing of basically like new weapons that are 20, 30, 40, 50 years old. I found quite a few of them in my collecting days. Like I said, traveling to different pawn shops, estate sales and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to kind of showing you the rest of these. So I should be releasing a few more here pretty quickly. So again, if you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Got an important announcement for you guys. So when I hit 500 subscribers, I'm going to do a build series on these pistol revolver presentation cases. They're made right here in North Carolina in my shop, woodpatriotic.com, and I'm going to do a build series on one of these boxes for one of the subscribers. We'll pick one at random, and they'll get a custom-made box made for whatever revolver or semi-automatic handgun they have. And I'm going to do a 5-part build series on exactly how we put these together, what that looks like, and then give it away to one of you guys. So again, hit that subscribe button, tell a friend. Once we get there, I'll start that build series, and we'll give one of these boxes away, these custom boxes. As you can see, this one here is holding a 2020 Colt Python 6-inch barrel, and a little placard showing you that it's a Colt Python. And again, we make these here custom right here in the house, in my shop outside. So tune in later. Once we hit that 500 subscriber mark, we're going to give one away for free and show you how to build one if you want to build it yourself.